welcome to this edition of Nook News. I'm Beth Hadfield, the Activity Coordinator at the Center for Active Living, and I am your host. Today I have with me Andrea Chiros and April Thompson, both of which are the social outreach workers at the center. Andrea, I'm going to start with you. Can you give us a little bit of your background and how you ended up working with seniors?
Sure. So I started working with seniors about 12 years ago now. There was an opening at one of the area local elder service agencies in the Protective Services Department. I worked in that department for 10 years prior to coming to the Center for Active Living. My job consisted of doing a lot of crisis intervention and response to really vulnerable seniors in the South Shore communities. And up at the center, as I said, I've been there since the spring of 2017, and very much happy to be a part of the center.
Awesome, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
April, can you give us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I started as a volunteer at the center 6 years ago, and yeah, it's been a long time.
It has.
I was hired into the front desk reception position. I worked there part-time for 3 years, and have been working on my college degree for my bachelor's in human services, which I just graduated in May. I was lucky enough to be hired into the social worker position a year before that, and so it's been a little bit, I guess almost a year and a half now that I've been in the social worker position.
Congratulations on your
Thank you.
degree.
It's been great.
So at the center, you're social outreach workers. So do you do social activities? What exactly does your job entail? Andrea, we'll start with you.
Okay. April and I are both full-time employees, so we're available at the center during our hours, Monday through Friday. No, we don't do social activities, although sometimes we do partake in some of the events or activities going on at the center. We do a little bit of socializing, I guess. We are presence throughout the center to get to know the members that come in. But our job, the role of the social outreach workers at the center is to provide information and referrals to families and seniors in the community of Plymouth, so that they can, access services. It also includes assisting people access like benefits programs, public benefits.
Okay.
And yeah, that's about it.
Andrea touched upon benefits programs.
Yes.
April, can you elaborate? Like earlier we talked about SNAP, and I'm like, what is that? So what do the letters mean, and then how do the programs work?
SNAP is another word for food stamps,
Okay.
Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. The DTA in Plymouth is in charge of that, but we do help people fill out the paperwork to apply. What we do is we have them come in, fill out the paperwork with them, help them to put together what documents they need for documentation to send in, so that hopefully when we send it in, we have the whole package done together. We do that for food stamps, fuel assistance, and senior housing options.
Do all of those require, each individual application has information that a client would have to bring with them, or a resident
Yes.
in our community. Is there an easy access to that information, or once they call and make an appointment, do you then call them back and say, okay, bring all of this with you?
Yeah, sure. We have paperwork at the center. They can get through us or the front desk that will tell them what they need for documentation. Usually we tell them gather it all. Once you have it gathered, give us a call, make an appointment, and then they can come in and we can put everything together. Hopefully they have everything. If they're missing something, sometimes it's one paper. Who knows what it could be. We can send them out to get that, and then once we have everything, we'll send it in.
Are each of those based on income? Each of those being SNAP and fuel assistance, are those based on income for people to be able to apply for that?
They are based on income. We don't decide we don't know what the income limitations are. We just help you to fill out the
Okay.
paperwork and send it in. The same with housing. The housing is also, there are some income limitations, but you know, any senior can apply for that.
Kind of. Okay, great. We talked about, you had mentioned meeting with families. So if a family member had a concern about their parent, aunt, uncle, older relative, would they start by calling the center and talking to one of you? Andrea, can you answer that?
Absolutely. In particular, in circumstances where there may be an out-of-state or at least out-of-town relative that is concerned about their loved one, it is helpful to kind of start on the phone.
Okay.
Oftentimes, I can provide all the information that they could need via the telephone, and then perhaps follow up by sending out additional information in mail or email format. Oftentimes, it's a great way for me to gather some more information about the overall situation. And in some circumstances, I may even ask of this family member, or maybe even the caregiver, to bring the senior into the center. Would they be open to also, joining in a meeting? It's a great way for us to build some rapport, have somebody be able to give them the support that they need as well, because for a lot of families, this is new territory.
Right.
They have aging family members. In some circumstances, they're starting to decline, and they've never had to access services before. They don't even know where to start.
Right.
And so we can be a great resource of where to start.
Okay. April, as the social outreach worker, do you actually go into people's homes and meet with them if they have limited mobility or are unable to even get a ride in?
Yes, absolutely. If they ask us to come down to their homes, we can come. We can bring paperwork to them, help them fill it out at the home. I am also a notary, so a lot of times my notary services are for some people who can't get out. We welcome you to come into the center also for the notary services. Just make an appointment, call up. But as far as getting out, we'd love to go to homes because we realize some people are secluded in homes and can't get out, and for them to have that support at home also is very important.
Do we find that seniors in our community call us just as much as family members when help is needed, or does it lean one way versus the other? Do we find that families call more than the senior?
I think
it both
varies. Yeah.
is just probably equally. I mean, if there was much difference, it's not much.
No.
A lot of times I feel like I'll get calls or we get appointments from seniors when they want to apply for, say, the SNAP program or fuel assistance, if they're having some financial difficulties or their housing situation is not currently adequate or safe, and so they'll give us a call to find out what the options are. A lot of times I think when a senior is starting to fail, needs in-home services, more support, or there's concerns, we're getting calls from the family and educating them on what's available out there. There's a lot of services and resources available, and we want to make sure that we connect people so that they know what all their options are, so our seniors can be supported and remain at home safely.
Based on people being homebound, through the center, we're trying to get up and running a friendly visitor program. I'm going to focus this question on you because I know you've been working really hard at it. What do you need to be part of the program as a participant and then maybe as a volunteer?
Great. So we have been successful in actually getting it off the ground. I'd love to see this program grow. So for what we look for in a participant is someone in the community, a senior that perhaps is isolated, maybe doesn't have a lot of family in the area, or at least contact with a lot of people. Maybe they can't even get out of their home to do routine activities. They're starting to feel isolated, and would benefit and be open to the idea of having someone come to build a relationship, a friendship. That's really the idea of the program, that social contact, life, it's all about relationships. And
Right.
so for people that are really isolated, it can have a negative effect on them. Overall, it can affect their health and wellness. And the idea is that we have plenty of able-bodied and willing, very friendly, compassionate people in our community that are more than willing to do a friendly visit. A friendly visitor, what I'm looking for in a volunteer, is someone who certainly wants to help our local seniors, someone that I think is able to start conversation, that perhaps has the ability to give maybe a 6-month commitment, because it would be nice for them to have that continuity of the same person. We'd start out building a relationship even on the phone, and then maybe a half hour, like one time a week, and then they can go from there.
Okay.
The idea is, what I'd like to do is to match participants and volunteers that maybe have similar interests,
Okay.
so that they can, when they are forming that connection, they have some commonalities or
Right.
something that can, is a good way for them to pass the time.
Awesome. April, when we have people that call you, do you find that most of them are in crisis when they realize they need something, or are people sort of preparing for situations that they might realize are coming up or might be changing?
A little bit of both. I don't know, crisis, makes me think crisis right now, right, has to be done.
Right.
They're realizing a little bit, it's half and half, there's
Okay.
people who are calling because they have problems and they need help right now. There's people who are calling who are anticipating for the future, which is really great because you have to think for the future and what might happen. So many things are happening in the time right now that, what you might consider crisis is that they need something right now, maybe they're not prepared that they ever were going to have to go into the nursing home,
Right.
and their assets aren't in the right places that they need to be.
Right.
But I think it's kind of half and half. What do you think? I don't think more so than the other.
No, I think it's varied. We're available for both.
Okay.
I think that the types of things that come up for crisis could be, food insecurity. Someone doesn't have, they're getting a minimal SNAP benefit, or maybe they're not enrolled in the program at all.
Can we help them at the center if they came in and maybe really didn't have much food-wise? Do we have the ability to help them and give them what they need or point them in the right direction?
Sure. So we are fortunate that we do have some food at the center from the Community Action Council Food Bank. So if someone comes in and they really don't have enough to eat for the upcoming week, we can give them some essentials, which is good. We also can fill out the SNAP form, and we can make contact so that the application can be processed as soon as possible.
Yes.
And then also, if they're open to it, we can discuss other options like the Meals on Wheels programs, so that they can just make sure that they have the adequate nutrition. We also provide them with information about other area resources.
Okay.
For example, the local food pantries. And we encourage people to, in a lot of circumstances, folks, they haven't either needed the help before, or they, feel like they don't want to be a bother to someone.
Right.
I encourage people that, the resources are there for people that need it. And oftentimes the people that feel, are reluctant to accept services are ones that have been so generous and have helped others
All their
in the
lives,
past.
right.
So, the way it works is it's an ebb and flow, a give and take through life, and
Right.
the resources are there for you to take now. It doesn't mean that you need to take them forever. We can work together to find ways that maybe you can be more successful, or be
Right.
self-sufficient. You won't have to rely on this every week.
Right.
You won't find yourself in crisis again. We can help people get through the crisis, but we also want to find ways so that it's not,
So they don't come back
so it's
into
not
that
happening.
place
Yeah,
again.
so that it's not happening on a daily basis for
Right.
them, so that maybe
Right.
they can make some life changes. But as far as in advance, we do definitely get calls for people starting to look for the process. Starting to get concerned about mom and dad. They probably could have somebody come in once a week to help them with tasks. We definitely can do that too. And what I try to explain to people is that a lot of times with this, you're going to have to come up with like short-term plans and then
Right.
long-term, what your long-term goal is.
Right.
And then we can go from there. So.
What I wanted to say before was, do we find that people are a little more reluctant to come in because they think if they say something or let us know that they need help, they're going to wind up in a nursing home? Or do we still see that fear in people that we've seen in the past, or is it getting
do.
better?
We do sometimes. I think it's probably getting better, but some people think if they come in and they say the wrong thing or give me the wrong information, that's not what we're there to do. We're there to give you information, referral. You have questions, you have issues. We want to get you to the right agency that's going to help you. We have so much information and so many different places to turn for people, and we're not there to take you out of your home. That's not what we do. We want you to stay home. We want you to have the information that you need and be able to get it.
And I think that's really important. I think at times, and recently I heard it in an activity at the center, was someone didn't want to say anything because they thought they would end up in a nursing home. And maybe for short-term rehab, if they needed to build strength or a certain one particular thing that needed, focus, but I still find our older seniors still think if someone finds out I can't do something, that they're going to end up in a nursing home and they're not going to be let out.
Absolutely.
It's-
I think it is I think it still does have a strong presence. I think it is a true fear of a lot of people. It's the fear of having all your choices taken away from you, all of your independence. And as people age, they gradually do lose their independence. And with that process, though, we want to make sure that people have all the information, the resources, so that they can age well in the community. They can maintain as much as their independence as possible. If by chance they're struggling to meet their daily needs, we want to make sure that they have everything to make them be as successful as possible. It would be the last option that somebody would need to go into a
To be put
facility.
in a facility,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What resources do we have available to us at the center?
At the
April?
center.
Yeah.
So some of the resources we have are Old Colony Elder Services, obviously the DTA, Department of Transitional Assistance, which helps us with the SNAP, senior housing, the Housing Authority in Plymouth. We have, what else?
Oftentimes we're directing
think.
people, giving people information about the Alzheimer's Association, like the
Okay,
Different
hotline.
groups.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The groups that we have at the center, a lot of information about that. Safety devices, the personal emergency response systems, the
Is that
I've
the
fallen-
life
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of
Okay.
people know it as.
Okay.
But ways to keep people safe. Technology. It's weaved
Abundant,
into everything that we do now,
Right, right.
and especially for families that may not live close to the Plymouth senior, it can be there's ways and there's a lot of creativity that can go into keeping people in their own homes, their own apartments.
Right.
We have been able to form collaborations and networks with other senior centers so that we can share information. That's been really helpful. And there are times, Beth, that we get calls from non-Plymouth residents. We get calls either from family members or people that want to move into town. And if we can't help them, we're going to connect them to the place that can.
Do we work, or do both of you work primarily with people just from Plymouth, though? Like, regulations-wise, are we only allowed to help people that just live in Plymouth and do information for those that live outside of town? How does that work?
Yeah, so you have to be a Plymouth resident in order for us to come in and help you fill out paperwork and things like this. We do have people from out of state. Obviously, family members live in Florida. So I've had people call from Florida that want to relocate back here.
Okay.
That might not be necessarily something that I can do for them, but I look online where you can find everything these days and would refer them to the places in Florida that might be able to help them, and assist them to move back. I just wanted to say too that we also assistive devices as far as visually impaired or hearing impaired. We have referrals for that can help people get some of the things that they need, like the oversized remote control for the TV or the devices on the phone.
Right.
So if someone can't hear, we have places that we can reach out to help
get
find
people
these
what
things.
they need.
Yeah.
Which is nice to know that you have all the resources almost at your fingertips, really, with the internet the way it is. And when people call, you can give them that information. And I know we talked about this earlier. Even though people call, do you prefer to meet them to kind of get a better picture of who they are?
Yes. Usually someone will call for something, and the more information, the more that you talk to them, the more you find out is they need more than they actually originally came to you for.
Okay.
So it can spread out to so much more help for them and be really beneficial.
Which is excellent. April, I know you also work with our Facebook page at the center. Can you tell people how to find it and what information we put on there? It's
the Center for Active Living. You would search it in the search bar at the top of the screen on your Facebook page. And we have a free movie every week. I post a lot of the activities. I share the flyers that you post around the building. If there's any closures or, I posted something about one of the local ponds the other week. Just information for the town. Anybody can sign up and like the page. If you like the page, it will start showing up on your Facebook page. And it's just a way to get information out there. What's the best part of your job?
Well, I love to help people. I feel like it's been my passion, all my life. Never mind, my adulthood with career. I feel like we can make a real difference for people. I feel effective in what I do, and it's incredibly rewarding when someone didn't know where to turn or didn't know what to do, and we can give them that information so that they can make informed decisions about what they need, giving people options. It's amazing. I love my job when people find housing that we're really struggling. That's a real problem in our community is safe, affordable housing for seniors that are on really fixed incomes. And I just love the center. We have such a vibrant community up there, and that's another reason why I love having people come into the office, because a lot of people they don't realize what the center is. And when they come in, they're just, blown away by everything that we can offer.
Right. April, what's the best part of it for you?
So many things. The social aspect of it, the rewarding, feeling. There's been times where I've done what felt like to me just the littlest thing to give that information or get a program, running for somebody or something, and have them send me a card and tell me how much I made a difference and how happy they are and how thankful, and it just makes you feel so good to be able to help somebody. Some people that come in are having a really hard time, and to know that if for that moment you made everything better, so to speak, for them, I mean,
Right.
it just feels amazing.
Yeah.
And I like the center. And I like the
think we
people
all
in it.
do.
I like all of our seniors that come in. We
mean-
have a good time. It's fun. It's very active. It's an amazing place, and it has brought a lot of love and light to my life.
You know, we talk about how amazing we are, and for those people who don't get the opportunity to come in and actually see where we work and the building and what goes on, it's true. It's once you walk through that door, it's kind of life-changing.
Yes.
And for lots of people in lots of different situations, you know, I know recently, sort of just by chance, we were able to help someone find a job, just by chance. You know, sometimes people are in the right place and they find a place to live, and their life turns around. You know, I am the activity coordinator. I do the fun side. We're always planning activities. You know, what you do is twice as hard as what I do emotionally, but the people in our community are very giving and very caring. That giving back, it's not as hard as it is. You know, we also are lucky enough to receive some donations from South Shore Community Action Council. Do we have a way of giving things out or having it, you know, work? So how does that work?
Well, we have been fortunate to be getting some donations from the food bank. And what we're able to do is get it out to as many seniors that come into the center as possible. It's sort of streamlined to now. The way that we're doing it now is we actually have a number system where we just pass out numbers. It just keeps it moving.
Controlled,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, and so that folks can come in. We ask that people, you know, take what they like, take what they need, take what they'd use, and leave the rest, you know, for anyone else in need. And to enjoy it, and we manage like each week to help about maybe 25 to 30 people each week with usually it's a bag of food to go home with. It's never a guarantee. We don't know if we're going to get it each week, but whatever we do get, we feel like we're able to spread it amongst a lot of people.
Right.
We're very
It's something
thankful for
people
that.
I feel like they look
It's a very
forward to it
generous
now.
donation that we're very thankful to receive, to be able to pass out.
And I think you're right, Andrea. I think people are looking forward to it. And for those people that do come to the center a lot, you know, it's wonderful, but we know that at some point it changes, and you know, it's summer, so we get a little bit more now in the summertime, even with some fresher vegetables and things like that. But then it does change again, you know, later in the year.
Yeah,
so,
we'll
and
see how it.
It's always fun.
Yeah,
It's
well,
always
every
fun.
day is an adventure at the center.
That's for
I
sure.
wake up. I mean, what I feel, I'm so grateful that each day I wake up and I look forward to going to work, which is pretty amazing
Definitely.
experience.
It is. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for coming and joining me today. This has been a really eye-opening experience. And for those of you out in the community, if you've never come in to meet April or Andrea, please come on into the Center for Active Living. Give them a call if you need something. They can always be reached. And if they are on the phone, they will get back to you as soon as they can. And thank you again for another edition of Nook News, and we'll see you soon.